لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وأزواجه وذريته أجمعين. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم ربنا زدنا علما وعملا وإخلاصا يا رب العالمين. وصلى وسلم على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه وذريته أجمعين. Okay. In this series actually, in short sessions, I'm going to talk about the concept of dialectic. Mainly from my focus will be on Hegel, but to sort of prepare a way for that, we would have to look at the genealogy of the concept, so to speak. So probably we'll look at Plato. Plato is important for Hegel. Kant is important for Hegel. And then we'll talk about Hegel's concept, and probably that will pave the way for talking about the form this concept takes in Marx, for it. Not necessarily in this sequence, but so probably try to make self-contained, try to show that the sessions are self-contained in a way, but also related to other sessions. Okay, so today we are just going to talk about dialectic as a word and its dictionary meaning and all that stuff. Dialectic. So I think that's one thing we can say, for example, dialectic, in order to understand it. English word dialogue, for example. Is ultimately derived from the same root as dialectic, for example, in Greek language. Ancient Greek language, I mean. And probably it has come in English through Latin and French. We are Greek. So I think that's a good way to, because dialectics seem like some mysterious things. So if you think of dialectic as a form of dialogue, for example, or dialogue as a form of dialectic, that sort of gives you more familiarity with the concept. Or conversation, for example. So Plato's dialogues, for example, in their different phases are supposed to be exemplification of dialectic or dialogue. Even though I'm a bit skeptical about it, because there is no real dialogue going on there most of the time. Anyway, so let's start with the dictionary meaning of dialectic. So English dictionary actually gives its philosophy meaning. So this is, I think, Oxford Dictionary. It says that the art of investigating or discussing the truth of opinion. Truth of opinions. I think opinions, investigating or discussing. So discussion is the main thing, I think. Because in dialogue, what you do. It's talking about opinion, but I think the better term would be claim. So we make claims in a dialogue or conversation. Not necessarily explicit claims, but at least implicit claims. That's one thing. So that's opinion. And it's a conversation or a dialogue in the sense that at least you need two people. You need a partner in conversation, although in theory you can talk to yourself like I'm doing right now. But arguably self-talk would not have been possible without the model we have of talking with others. So the art of investigating or discussing the truth of opinions, or discussion about opinions or claims. So the person, your partner in a dialogue or discussion or conversation, can ask for clarification. They can ask for reason of your claim. They can give you counter reasons, and then they can raise or express their own opinions or counterclaims, and you can do the same thing. You can ask for reason, clarification, etc. So in that sense, there is if you look at the structure of this thing, there is a back and forth of opinions, claims, information. And telos, or the purpose of this exercise or object of it, is, at least implicitly, to arrive at something which is more than we started with. We sort of is a combination of both sides, not in terms of addition, but addition then subtraction, and maybe coming up with a new opinion or new information or new claim which sort of builds on those claims and counterclaims is something more than them. There's some sort of advance or some sort of a mutual agreement, mutual recognition on something. So you have one opinion, then you have opinion two, and you come up with something which is a new thing, conclusion maybe, which would not have been possible without these two initial opinion, but is more than them, and maybe even reject the basics of all both sides in a sense, in that simple manner. So in that sense, it actually resembles argumentation. Like you have premises and then you have conclusion. But I think it's different from argumentation, formal argumentation at least, in that it's more dynamic. And you start with premises, you come up with another premise, and you might amend your premises and reject them or modify them, etc., and you come up with a new conclusion or new opinion, which is now a conclusion, but that doesn't have to be exact synthesis or even eclectic combination of two premises. It can be something totally new. So in that sense, dialogue is in a sense more dynamic, and I think dialectic sort of conveys that sense or that meanings. So dialectic, like dialogue, is a process. It's a dynamic process, and it's a two-way process, and one way sort of affects the other way, and then you come up with third way or third thing, which is sort of relies on one and two, but it's not necessarily a synthesis or even necessarily sublation, because it is a sublation of the first two, but you can basically in principle just reject both position and come up with something totally new. So there's always a possibility of transcendence or self-transcendence of this process. Anyway, I think this it does give us some idea of what dialectic is or what dialogue is. We'll continue it, inshallah. We'll stop here and continue it next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.